The anesthesia was already pulling me under when my phone buzzed on the surgical prep table. The nurse frowned, reaching to silence it, but I caught a glimpse of the notification. Mom, quick update, we're selling the house. Need the money for Garrett's new restaurant. Know it was your childhood home, but business is business. Hope surgery goes well. The words blurred as the drugs took hold, but they burned into my brain like acid. Hope surgery goes well. Like an afterthought. Like she'd remembered at the last second that her daughter was having a tumor removed from her liver. I tried to speak, to tell the nurse something, but darkness swallowed me whole. 6 hours later, I woke to the sound of machines beeping and my phone vibrating against the metal side table. My throat felt like sandpaper, my abdomen screamed with every breath, but I reached for the phone with trembling fingers. 47 missed calls, 83 text messages, 19 voicemails, all from my family. You're awake. Dr. Patel entered, checking my charts. Surgery went perfectly. We got clean margins. You're going to be fine, Amelia. My phone, I croaked. Can wait. You need rest. Please. She sighed but helped me sit up slightly, adjusting the bed. I opened the first voicemail, my mother's voice filling the room. Amelia, what did you do? The realtor just called. She says you own the house? That's impossible. Call me immediately. The second, this isn't funny anymore. If this is some kind of joke because you're upset about us selling. The third, your father's lawyer says it's true. You bought our house. Our house. How could you? How could you? I deleted the rest without listening and checked my texts. They painted a clear picture of escalating panic. My brother Garrett, the golden child whose restaurant dreams were worth more than my childhood memories, had sent. What the hell, Amelia? You knew I needed that money. My sister Lily. Mom's crying. Dad's threatening lawyers. What were you thinking? My father. This is financial manipulation. Theft. I don't care if it's legal. You're no daughter of mine. I laughed, then winced as pain shot through my incisions. No daughter of mine. As if I'd ever been more than an afterthought, a disappointment. The child who chose nursing over business school and small-town life over their grand ambitions. The nurse came in with pain medication. You should rest. No stress. Too late, I whispered, then dialed my lawyer. Amelia, how did the surgery? Fine, Sharon. They know about the house. Ah, a pause. Are you ready for this? You're still recovering. They texted me about selling my childhood home while I was literally being cut open. I'm ready. 6 months earlier, I'd been visiting for Mom's birthday when I overheard the conversation that changed everything. They thought I was napping upstairs, recovering from a double shift at the hospital. We're 3 months behind on the mortgage. Dad's voice drifted up through the old heating vents. Either we sell or we lose it to the bank. But Garrett needs capital for the restaurant, Mom protested. He's so close to his dream. Then we sell. Amelia won't care. She barely visits anyway. What if she wants to buy it? Dad's laugh was cruel. With what? A nurse's salary? She made her choice. Garrett has ambition. Lily married well. Amelia just exists. Just exists. I'd lain there, staring at the ceiling of my childhood bedroom, at the glow-in-the-dark stars I'd put up when I was 7. The same room where I'd studied for my nursing boards, where I'd cried after my first patient death, where I'd hidden when my parents' disappointment became too heavy to bear. That night, I'd made a decision. The next morning, I'd contacted Sharon, my lawyer and former patient. I need to buy a house without the sellers knowing it's me. That's oddly specific. What house? My parents. She'd stared at me. Story time. I'd told her everything. The years of being overlooked. The college fund they'd drained for Garrett's first failed business. The wedding they'd missed because Lily's husband had nixed tickets. The cancer diagnosis I'd shared over dinner, only to have them spend the rest of the meal discussing Garrett's menu plans. They're in default, I'd finished. I want to buy it before they list it. This is going to get messy, Amelia. It already is. The purchase had been surprisingly simple. Sharon had set up an LLC, made the bank an offer they couldn't refuse, and suddenly, I owned my childhood home. My parents had received notice that their mortgage was paid off by a private investor who would allow them to remain as tenants. They'd celebrated, posted on Facebook about their miracle and good fortune. Never once questioned why an investor would buy a house just to let them live in it rent-free. Until today. Until they'd tried to sell something that wasn't theirs anymore. My hospital room door burst open. My mother stood there, still in her tennis outfit, face blotchy with tears or rage or both. How dare you, she hissed. Hello to you too, Mom. Surgery went well, thanks for asking. Don't you dare act like the victim here. You bought our house behind our backs. I bought a house in foreclosure. The fact that you were living in it was incidental. Incidental. She stepped closer, and I noticed my father and siblings crowding the doorway behind her. You're our daughter. Since when? The words hung in the air like a scalpel. My father pushed into the room, his face purple with fury. We raised you, fed you, clothed you. The bare minimum. Legally required. Want a medal? You manipulative little. He stepped forward, and Dr. Patel appeared like magic. I'm going to have to ask you all to leave. My patient needs rest. We're her family. Then act like it, Dr. Patel said coolly. She just had major surgery. Whatever this is can wait. They left, but not before Garrett spat. This isn't over. I spent the next 3 days in the hospital, fielding calls from Sharon and ignoring texts from my family. On discharge day, I found them waiting in the lobby. We need to talk, my mother said. Like adults. Fine. Sharon's office. 1 hour. Sharon had prepared everything. The conference room table held neat stacks of documents. The foreclosure notices, the LLC paperwork, the deed transfer, and crucially, a printed transcript of text messages I'd saved over the years. Mom, can't make your nursing pinning ceremony. Garrett has a job interview. Dad, stop being dramatic about the cancer. Everyone has problems. Lily, maybe if you'd chosen a real career, you could afford better insurance. Garrett, need $5,000 for supplies. I know you just bought a car, but family helps family, right? My mother's face went white as Sharon read each one aloud. You want to talk about family? I said when she finished. Let's talk about how you drained my college fund for Garrett's first restaurant, the one that failed in 6 months. Let's talk about how you missed my nursing school graduation for Lily's husband's golf tournament. Let's talk about how I told you I had cancer, and you texted me while I was in surgery about selling my childhood home for Garrett's next venture. We didn't know you'd bought it, my father said weakly. Would it have mattered? Would you have asked if I wanted it? Or would you have done exactly what you've always done? Put Garrett's dreams and Lily's comfort ahead of my existence. You're twisting things, Lily said. We love you. You love the idea of me. The quiet daughter who never asks for anything, never complains, never expects equal treatment. The one who just exists. My father flinched. You heard that. I heard everything. How a nurse's salary wasn't enough. How I had no ambition. How I'd made my choice. I leaned forward, ignoring the pull of my incisions. I did make my choice. I chose to save lives instead of destroying restaurants. I chose to live within my means instead of begging family for money. And I chose to buy that house when you were about to lose it to the bank. To humiliate us, Garrett accused. To preserve it. That house is the only good thing from my childhood. Every room holds memories of feeling invisible, inadequate, less than. But it also holds the ghost of who I could have been if anyone had bothered to see me. So what now? My mother asked. You evict us? Punish us. Sharon slid a document across the table. Actually, Ms. Harper has a proposal. They read it in silence. I watched their faces change from suspicion to confusion to something like hope. You're giving us the house? My father asked. Selling it to you. For exactly what I paid, the outstanding mortgage balance. Plus the 6 months of payments I covered. No interest. No profit. But why? Because I'm not you. I don't put money above family. But there are conditions. Sharon pulled out another document. A family contract. If you want the house, you sign this. The conditions were simple. No financial requests to Amelia for 5 years. Acknowledgement of her career and achievements in all family communications. Attendance at her medical appointments if requested. Equal treatment in all family decisions. The house cannot be sold or mortgaged for Garrett's business ventures. This is ridiculous, Garrett exploded. You can't contract family relationships. No. You've treated me like a business transaction my whole life. Invested nothing, expected returns when convenient. At least this makes it official. And if we don't sign, my mother asked quietly, then I keep the house. You can rent from me at market rate or find somewhere else to live. Your choice. The room fell silent. I could see them calculating. The humiliation of signing versus the financial reality of losing the house. Finally, my father picked up the pen. Where do I sign? One by one they signed. Even Garrett, though his hand shook with rage. When it was done, Sharon notarized the documents and handed them copies. "We're done here," I said, standing carefully. "The house transfer will be complete in 30 days. "Amelia," my mother called as I reached the door. "Do you really think this changes anything? That a piece of paper makes us family." I turned back. "No, but maybe it makes you think twice before texting your daughter about selling her childhood home while she's fighting cancer. Maybe it makes you remember that I exist between crises. Maybe it makes you see me as more than just the disappointing daughter who chose healing over wealth. We never said you were disappointing. You never had to. Every action, every choice, every forgotten milestone said it for you." I smiled sadly. "I bought that house to save you from foreclosure. I'm selling it back to save myself from you. The contract isn't to make us family. It's to give me permission to stop trying to earn a place at a table where my seat was never really mine." I left them there in Sharon's conference room, with their signed contracts and their shock. Outside, the sun was shining, and for the first time in my life, I felt free. The cancer treatment would be brutal. The recovery would be long. But I'd face it without the weight of trying to matter to people who'd decided long ago that I didn't. 6 months later, I got a card from my mother. A real card, not a text. Inside, she'd written, "Thinking of you on your last day of chemo. We'd like to take you to dinner to celebrate if you're feeling up to it. Love, Mom." I stared at it for a long time. Then I picked up my phone and typed, "Thank you. I'd like that." Maybe contracts couldn't create family. But sometimes losing everything was the only way to find out what was worth saving. The house still stood on Maple Street, holding all our ghosts. But I didn't need to own it anymore. I'd found home in the life I'd built, the career they'd dismissed, the strength they'd never seen. And that was worth more than any childhood bedroom with glow-in-the-dark stars. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.